Welcome back to another Waynos Fotos video, and the conversation today is about tyre grip and how tyre grip relates to a skinny tyre or a wider tyre. Does it make any difference? Does it get grippier? Does it get less grippier? Well, we're going to answer all those questions after we roll that intro. Well, before we jump in and start talking about tyres and how they affect the grip, let's just have a look at something which will give you an idea of how force is applied to an area. Now, we all have probably whacked a nail with a hammer into a piece of wood. So when we have a nail, it actually has a flat head to which we hit with the nail, and on the other end it comes to a point, and that point is designed to penetrate the wood. So when we hit the nail with a hammer, the force is concentrated on that very point and it pushes the nail into the wood. Now, if we actually go and get that nail and we grind off that pointy area so the actual circumference of the nail is flat at the end like a cylinder, and then we try and do the same thing, we find that the nail doesn't go in as easy. It's a lot harder to get the nail in. Now, what's actually happening here is that when we have the point on the nail, we're actually having more force per square inch or per square centimeter. And when we grind the actual point off, we actually have less force per square inch or per centimeter. Now let's just jump back to tyres. And tyres actually have a surface area, a patch area. So depending on how it's inflated, there will be like a long elliptical shape like this, where the tyre is in contact with the ground. Now, the smaller that patch is, the more force, which stays constant, which is you, the rider, and the bike, and the force of gravity pulling you down on that patch, then is increased if the patch area is smaller. So we have more force per square centimetre or per square inch. And if the patch is bigger, then the force is spread over a bigger area, so the force per square inch or per square centimetre is less. So what's actually happening here is when we have a smaller patch, which would be related to a skinnier tyre at a higher pressure, then what we would have is a higher amount of force applied per square inch per square centimetre on that tyre. So if there's more force with the rubber compound being the same, we're going to get more grip. Now this works the opposite way with a wider tyre and a lower pressure, because with a lower pressure you have a bigger area patch, you have less force per square inch and per square centimetre, so it's spread out more. And what this is actually by design. So when you ride a mountain bike, for instance, which has a bigger tyre and you're under a lower pressure, you're spreading the force out more over that soft dirt or sand that you're riding over. So therefore, it's not going to press into the dirt or into the sand. It's going to float over the top. Whilst if you ride on it with a road bike at a high pressure with a skinnier tyre, it's going to penetrate and push in because it has more force per square inch or per centimetre. Well, in conclusion, when we have a narrow tyre at a higher pressure, we're going to have more force per square inch per square centimetre, so we're going to have more grip, right? It's like if we want to mark a bench, we use something like a knife with a sharp point, so we can get in and it digs into the wood or digs into your bench top and makes a mark, and then of course you're in trouble with the wifey. But it's the same principle on a bike. When you have a smaller patch area, applying more force per square inch per square centimetre, so you're going to get more grip. Now, with a wider tyre, it's the opposite. Because you're applying the force over a bigger patch area and it's a lower pressure, you're going to have a lower force per square centimetre per square inch. But the advantage with the bigger fat tyre is because the force is spread out further, then when you go into a soft surface, it doesn't dig in like it does with a knife on the bench top and break the surface, and then you lose control of the vehicle. It floats over the top. And that's why the tyres are different for mountain bike or off-road and on-road. Now, I know that there's an intuitive view that we go, oh, but racing cars have got wider tyres, so that must be more grip. But you can't really bring that layman view over to bicycles. Cars work a little bit differently, and also the reality is compound has a major factor with car tyres. But on bicycle tyres, that's how it works, guys. And yeah, if you've got any comments, your experiences or your view, leave them down below, because it's a pretty simple sort of analogy when you use a nail and a point, or if you want to put a very strong force into a very small area because you want to mark something, you use something with a sharp point because you can apply that force in very, very fine area. If you use something that's bigger and flatter, it won't mark because it won't dig in. You can't apply that point pressure. Well, guys, that's where I'm going to leave it, and I'll catch you next vid. Cheers.